Καλώς ήρθατε σε ένα ακόμη επεισόδιο των Tension Profiles, Season 2, Cyprus 50 Years Later. Μαζί μας σήμερα έχουμε έναν άνθρωπο που είναι γνωστός στην παροικία του Τορόντο, την ελληνική παροικία του Τορόντο. Περισσότερο τον έχουμε γνωρίσει μέσα από τις πιο ευτυχισμένες στιγμές μας. Σήμερα όμως είναι εδώ να μοιραστεί τη δική του ιστορία για την εμπειρία που είχε το 1974 στην Κύπρο, την περίοδο της εισβολής. Χαίρετε. Καταρχάς ευχαριστούμε που μας κάνεις την χαρά και την τιμή να μας φιλοξενήσεις εσύ στο χώρο σου. Thank you for giving us bringing us to your kingdom, I'll say.
The kingdom. Very nice. You're very welcome. Welcome. Καλώς ορίσατε. And I look forward to taking a few steps back and going back in memories with Cyprus in 74. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, first of all, your story and allowing us to record it as well. It's very important for those stories to be out there. And everybody knows you as Christofi.
Correct.
But is that your full name? Is that how you've been baptized, Chris? Or?
Everybody calls me on December 25th to wish me a happy name day. And every year I tell them I'm not a Chris. People just cut my name. Christoforos είμαι. May 9th is my name day. And everybody forgets to call me on my name day. But yeah, Christoforos is what my mom chose for me when the time came.
So that's a beautiful name, first of all. And so now nobody will forget your name day.
They will. Hopefully. They all will. They all will.
May 9th, everyone. And as I know, but also some people, they don't know, you were born in Cyprus, right?
Correct.
And take us a little bit back about the time before 1974. What is your memory?
Before the war.
What do you remember?
Look, we were born in 1966 in Lefkosia. The χωριό was Kyperounta, way up north, close to Trodos, and literally it was some of the best times of my life, and I tell people this because we literally had 8 years of my life. I went to grade 4 with school, and I had 8 years of my life where I remember having Cypriot friends, Greek friends, Turkish friends. Everybody just kind of lived in harmony. We didn't, as kids that young, we didn't see the big picture of what exactly was going on politically and everything else when it came to Turkey and all that stuff. So, καλοκαίρια στο χωριό, χειμώνα στη Λευκοσία, lots of friends, στην Αλάνα πως λένε, we would just leave the house and come back at 11 o'clock at night. Nobody knew where we were, and some of the best times of my life. That's what Cyprus was to me.
Thank you for pointing that out, and it's a thank you also for mentioning the fact that before the war, Greek Cypriots, they were living with Turkish Cypriots. So many people they don't know that aspect of Cyprus, and it's basically our identity, right? Who we are as a nation, right? Mm-hmm. Do you maybe, if you want to share to that, do you have any friends that you still since from that time of your life?
When we moved to Canada, at that time, the amount of letters that kept going back and forth, and I remember this one girl named Felicia that we literally wrote for like 5-6 years, and then as we grew up, everybody disappeared. So as of right now, I don't have anybody, but I remember coming to Canada and feeling like I've left half my friends behind. And a few of them we were writing for a long period of time, and then we lost touch after a while.
Thank you so much. It's also, I want to know a little bit about, do you recall any memories during the few days before the war, if it was anything going on in the air, let's say, do you remember any specific vibe?
Look, it was July, and we had, we were literally finishing school, and we were getting ready to slowly go to the village and spend the summer in the village. Somehow it didn't happen like it always happened. We would go to the village a lot earlier. My dad wouldn't tell us. My mom wouldn't tell us why we weren't going. But because the praxikopima happened before the war, everything was a little upside down. We didn't know exactly what was happening, who was with who was talking to who. Are you right wing? Are you left wing? All that stuff. Just kind of, we were educated about it as 8-year-olds at the time. And we were told, you can't talk to this person, you can't talk to this person, this guy's our friend. Everybody took sides at that time. So
was it kind of an internal conflict, basically, in the country before the war?
yes.
And then it was basically on July 15, it was the coup from Greece. And then it was kind of but during that time, it was a vibe basically between the Cypriots, right? Is that what
We were divided amongst things. Like, I wanted to go out and play with my friends. And my dad saying, you can't play with those guys today. And I go, why? I'm 8 years old. What do I care who's left, who's right, whatever? Well, they're parents. And I remember at one point in time when we were all trying to figure out if Makarios was still alive or not, because everybody had him for dead for 2-3 days. And then he got on the radio, and I remember that speech that he made, like Martin Luther King type of speech when Makarios came on the radio. We were all glued to the radio just to see what's happening to our country. As 8-year-olds now, you have to think of, it was very dramatic for us at the time. So between, is our president dead? Can I play with my friends? Am I allowed to talk to certain family members that were on the right as opposed to the left that Makario tended to be at the time? It was very confusing 2-3 days. And then we forgot all about that because we as Cypriots then united the minute we heard that now it's us against the Turks. Before we were all divided amongst each other. And then the focal point became, how do we beat the Turks when we found out that the invasion started?
Did anybody knew that this is going to happen?
No.
No.
Totally by surprise. Totally by surprise. We thought we were literally going to spend the summer dealing with this internal national conflict, the division amongst Cypriots. And then just like that,
so
here come the Turks.
It's very interesting because you're one of the youngest people that they're talking to this series, right? So back then you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
And for someone to have those memories at that young age, do you believe that that's something that it's memories that you'll never forget? I will believe so, right?
Oh, in my mind forever. Like minute by minute, I'll take you through what happened to me, because certain things, certain miracles happened for us to be here today during those few days that the war started. And certain things happened in my life that never happened before and have never happened after. And it all had to do with the war.
So 1974, July 20th, you are in Kyperounta at that moment?
No, we're Lefkosia.
Lefkosia.
We never made it to Kyperounta.
You never made it to Kyperounta. So you're in Nicosia, and I'm assuming you heard the sirens? You remember that sound?
The sirens, in the distance, the parachutes.
Oh, you saw those?
Thousands of parachutes in the distance, and the propaganda on the radio every 2 minutes. We've been invaded. The Theodoraki songs are coming on left, right, and center. We're all against the Turks now. Every 5 minutes, where I learned many years later, they're telling us the lies about we shot down 100 planes. You know, I think we were up to like 500 planes that we were shooting down, Turkish planes that the Cypriot army was shooting down. And me and my brother were saying, like, okay, there can't be many more planes. How many do they have?
Yeah.
We're winning this thing, you know,
Yeah.
It's ours. So
why do you believe that it was that miscommunication, let's say?
Propaganda. It wasn't miscommunication. It was the leaders at the time, because Makario was still in hiding, in exile, wherever he went. It was the right-wing leaders at the time that were trying
the military government, basically.
Yes.
It was that moment, and they were just giving that information so they can show that we have the power, basically.
Yeah. We, the little country of 500,000 people, we're beating the Turks like there's no tomorrow, and it's the easiest thing we've ever done.
How sad is that? Because that's something that I never heard before. And thank you for sharing that. It's a very important. And you're in Nicosia. You've seen the army coming over, right?
Yeah, we were all in a neighborhood, and again, everybody's talking to each other now, and we're all trying to come up with a plan. You need a plan at the time because what people don't understand is the minute the war started, all the gas was held for military vehicles only. So we were not allowed to do anything with our cars, take long trips, because there was no gas available to the civilians.
Oh.
As I'm looking at your suit, and the exact same color as your suit, a family of 5, my mom, my dad, my 2 siblings, and myself, would always travel around in a blue VW Beetle. That was our car. Exactly that color. I'll never forget that car. And my dad...
Actually, having a conversation with Peter earlier, I was not planning to wear this today.
Oh, like exactly the same color.
Earlier, because I brought 2-3 different colors, and I said, okay, I'll go wear this.
Oh, you picked it. There's a reason.
Okay.
See, everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
So this VW Bug was the family car. It got us everywhere. Unfortunately, my mom, like every wife that keeps telling the husband, once in a while, fill up the car because we're going to get stuck on the road.
She was right.
She was very right, because the car on that day where we needed to get to the Vounous, which was far away from the Turks, totally on the other side, the safe spot of Cyprus, was on empty. It was literally on empty. And
how far did you get?
Oh, let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
Let's backtrack a little bit. So we were stuck with no gas because it was on empty. And my dad did not want to take the chance to take the 2-hour trip to the village on empty, because he goes, if we get stuck, we can be killed, we could be stuck in the middle of a war, we're not going anywhere since there's no gas. So, plan B. There wasn't too many high-rise buildings in Nicosia, very few. High-rise, okay, 4 stories. That's what we called high-rise buildings in Cyprus during those days. The entire neighborhood got together, and because we were close to the Prasini Grami at the time, we decided we're going to camp in the basement of this one building. In case bombs came, we had something on top of us to protect us. We all get to the basement. The men of each family were told that you need to go on the roof, and we're going to take turns sending the different heads of the family to the rooftops, and we're going to keep an eye out, Skopia, basically. And if we see that the Turks are getting dangerously close, we need to evacuate. In the meantime, we have to wait it out here until gas is available to civilians.
Did you have any supplies with you? Anything that...
We grabbed whatever we can from the house, but we had one gun. And I'll never forget this gun. It was a rifle, a hunting rifle. And each male in the family needed to go to the rooftop with the rifle and just in case protect us and let us know if we needed to evacuate. My dad, I begged my dad. I was the eldest in the family. I go, Dad, I want to come with you. I thought it was exciting for me, you know.
Fear, right?
War, guns, yeah. We go to the rooftop, and my dad's walking around. We're looking at all the planes coming closer, all the
soldiers,
the soldiers jumping out with parachutes, because that's how they were dropping their military at that time. Because we're an island, they would fly on top. All the soldiers would come down with the parachutes. And my dad is going from corner to corner, keeping an eye out, but he's not a gun guy. He left the gun down. And when he's not looking, the 8-year-old picks up the gun. And I'm playing war with the gun. I didn't fire any shots. My dad looked at me and he came, and I've never seen that look in my dad's eye in his whole life. My dad never hit us as kids. Mom was a disciplinarian. And I'll never forget, that's the only time in my life when I said to you before, it only happened once, never happened again, is when my dad came and gave me the biggest slap on the back of the thing and told me exactly what do you think what are you doing, right? So that's
brought you back to reality, basically, that's not a game.
I go, yeah, maybe something just happened that shouldn't have happened, because this man has never raised a hand to us.
Yeah.
He was a teddy bear in the family. My mom was the disciplinarian.
Imagine the fear.
Yeah.
Your father felt
So it's like
moment,
this.
right?
This is serious, right? Yeah. You can kill myself. You can kill him by mistake. Yeah. So we continue, and one of the dads, the following day, came down and said, "They're way too close. We've got to go." And we didn't have anything else to do. We needed to go. We made a decision as a family that we're going to get in that VW bug, and on empty, we're going to go. And as far as it takes us. No word of a lie. We started on empty. My mom was doing every prayer possible. We put whatever we can, and this is 5 people now in that bug, which makes it requires more gas to move 5 people, and we're going up a mountain. Somehow 2 hours later, we pulled in on empty. We pulled into my grandma's driveway, and this thing never stopped. And miracle, somebody was looking after us that day. Something happened, and my dad turned off the car. We all got out, and I remember my grandma or grandpa at the time said, "Move it because somebody else is coming so they can get in too." And he went to start it, and it wouldn't start. Almost like the last drop of gas.
That's a miracle.
Ended up on that thing. It got us there with the last drop, and then he tried to start it, and I remember we had to go and funnel gas out of somebody else's car just to move it after.
Wow, that's and where it was, the village was up to Troodos Mountain?
Very close to Troodos. It's like about 10-15 minutes away from Troodos.
What is the name of the village?
Kyperounta.
Kyperounta.
Yeah.
Nice.
No.
Wow. And
this is the stuff that happens, and you don't know why it happens. And
do you remember your driveway? Do you remember you have pictures? Do you recall pictures of that kind of
the drive up? The drive up. He felt so bad because we couldn't fit anybody else. I remember a lot of people on the road doing auto stop and trying to, because they didn't have a car, they needed to get away. We remember some soldiers that were asking for either a ride or some food that were caught in the road, right? And my dad would always stop and show them, like, I'm not lying to you, we're literally like this,
stuck
inside the thing, yeah. So I remember a lot of people asking for help, whether it was some food, some water, whatever we had in the car. We would throw it out because we knew we'd eventually get there, and Grandma had everything for us. So
did other people, they were at the same village at that time, they would start coming around these areas in Troodos?
In our village, the entire family that was in Lefkosia eventually made it up.
And I will assume that everyone was kind of more united than before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are...
well, we were all for one and one for all at that time. We forgot about any problems we had amongst each other, personal problems, because now it was Cypriots against the Turks. There was only one focal point at the time, yeah.
Wow. And for how long did you stay at Kyperounta?
I remember we were there for when the second invasion came as well. So we
in August.
Yeah.
So it was the first in July, and then it was the second one in August. Just keeping some also points for the audience, so they will learn a little bit more about what happened.
The entire summer and I think everything was okay when we went back to school in September, and we were back in Lefkosia at that time.
So you went back to school in September?
Yeah. I remember things being semi back to normal, that the peace talks. I remember we were in Lefkosia in September because at that time we started the next thing where my cousin Sotiri was a hostage. So on a regular basis, we would go where the hostage exchanges were made. So we would show the picture and see if anybody had seen him, if he was getting off a bus when the hostage exchanges were made, because my aunt was in Kyperounta. So my dad would go in their behalf with the picture and see if if Sotirio was going to come back.
Never came back. So it's one of basically. Did you find out what happened to your uncle, right?
Cousin.
Did you find out what happened to him?
No.
Since now, no news, nothing about Sotiris?
Nobody knows. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Nobody.
It's very sad. I think that's the most hard part of our history, the missing people.
Yeah.
I know from my family too, and I totally can't relate, and I feel the pain of those families that they have someone that they never found out if we were even where they are, what happened to them, are they alive, are they dead? So as long as you know what happened, I think it's kind of a closure.
It gives you closure, yeah, and a lot of till this day, my aunt still doesn't have closure. Yeah.
How do you feel about it after? Now, let's say it's 50 years now, right? So how do you feel about? I feel like it's very close by, and I feel like it seems like so far away.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that fact?
It's like yesterday. You're right. It's like yesterday when you start talking about it, it comes back really quickly. At the same time, like you said, it's been 50 years. You know, that's half a century. So have we forgotten about it? I think, unfortunately to say, a lot of us have just forgotten about it and moved on. Yeah.
Why do you feel like we've moved on, though?
We came to Canada. I'll give you the next story on why we moved on. And
before we moved to Canada, can you state also the full name of your cousin, Sotiris? Remember the last name?
Oh, we had so many last names in the family. For God's sakes, it's one of those.
When you find out,
we're gonna have to edit that one because Cypriot families, we don't all have the same last name. Unfortunately,
yes,
take our parents, whatever. So we're Christofi. What were they? Oh my God, it's been such a long time.
It's okay. We can edit that and we can add it on the description. So
I'll get that to you.
If we know names, we should point them out that we still have missing people out there. And as long as we need to state that and shout that we need to know what happened.
Yeah. To those people. Just for closure. Yep. You're
and
right.
Sorry to interrupt you. You wanted to say the fact when you decide, after how long you decide to relocate it?
Cyprus being a Commonwealth country, and Canada being a Commonwealth country, we had an aunt here, and Canada to Commonwealth countries that are part of giving. Canada basically opened its doors to a lot of Commonwealth countries, one of them being Cyprus. So it really helped that we were a Commonwealth country.
Together, I think, with the UK, Malta,
correct,
few countries.
Yeah. So it was rather easy for us at the time, and my parents decided in '76, so 2 years after the war, that a good relocation would be Canada. We had our aunt here, and we moved. But I wanted to go back to what you're saying before about why we've gotten over it. At the beginning, when we first came here, whether it was friends or business, we had this hatred for Turkish people. You know, it was in our DNA that we as Cypriots, we must hate Turkish people. And as I grew up and I educated myself a little bit more, that maybe it wasn't 100% the Turkish people's fault. Maybe there was a little bit of Greek fault there, a little bit of Cypriot fault there, and you educate yourself on a little bit more exactly what happened, how we got there. And the most important thing as you get older is you realize that there's no reason to hate the human beings that live in Turkey. The human beings and their population is probably just as good, just as sweet, just as kind, just as caring as the Greek Cypriots are. I'll always hate the leaders on whether it be the American leaders, the Turkish leader, the Greek leaders that decided that this was the right thing to do to my country. But as time went on, I understood that there's no reason to hate an entire nation for the work of a few, and I think that's what helped us get over it afterwards when it came. You know, you remember the name Dektaj? It'll be embedded in my mind forever. And
it's the people in power.
they make,
at the end of the day,
they make the decisions,
fault, right?
Is it the soldier's fault that he followed the commander's
Who dared not
rules and regulations and the directions? But I mentioned Tiktash, and Tiktash was at the Sheraton Center as a guest speaker in the late 80s here in Toronto. Me and my brother Ken, we decided that at that time, with our teenage minds, that my dad worked at the Sheraton Hotel, so we knew it like the back of our hands. We'd go and visit him all the time. We decided that the best plan of action was to somehow get to Tiktash and kill him while he was at the Sheraton Center. That's what me and my brother's plan was that day. We thought that was an amazing plan, because if he was out of the picture, then we'd get our Cyprus back. That's how much hate we had for this one guy that we knew was running the show.
And who can blame you at the end of it? Seeing in that such a young age, having all these experiences, I feel like it's the least that you can feel.
Yeah. And now we're like 57 years old. We go, what were we thinking? What were we going to do? We actually got about 100 feet away from the guy. We knew the back doors of the Sheraton to get about 100 feet away from the guy. And now we're thinking, we're going to go to jail the rest of our lives because we did something that stupid as teenagers. And what would it have changed? Absolutely nothing.
But also, putting myself into your situation in that young age to experience something like that, so powerful, and then have to leave your country because of part of those reasons, and start a new life in a different country, with a different mentality, with a different weather,
language, everything.
Everything. Of course, you get out of your comfort zone constantly.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and but yet you now look back and you say, "Oh, that happened for a reason." You know, there's a lot of good that came out of us relocating and making a life for ourselves here in Canada. You know,
how was the first? Do you remember the first years coming in Canada? How did you?
I was ready to kill my mother, kill my father. What have you done to us? Our friends are back there. We moved here in November. The snow was. People say this story that the snow was all up to here, but it truly was up to there. We were freezing. The kids were making fun of us at school because we couldn't speak the language. We just wanted to kill everybody around us. It was a sudden move. And then, again, now looking back, we thank our parents because it is one of the best moves they ever made.
They did what they knew better to protect you and give you a better life.
The old adage is, one day you'll thank me. It was right on this one, yeah.
And I've met your parents, and they're, especially Kyrillou, it's a favorite person. And did you feel like that when you came to Canada, it was an awareness during that time? Do you feel like they knew what happened in Cyprus?
When we came to Canada, because by the time we got to Canada, it was the stage of let's help Cyprus. So both the Cypriots and the Greek community of Toronto, I remember the radio stations having the programs that what did they call it? They were raising money. It was like you would dedicate a song and you would pay $10 at the time, and all the proceeds would go to the prosfigas, to the people in need, right?
You did fundraising to help people in Cyprus.
Yeah, and I remember we'd all sit around the radio and we would hear the dedication for Cyprus, and there was a lot of people sending both monies and other goods, whether it be like blankets or whatever. Like it was still fresh in everybody's mind for the 2 years later when it came to helping out the people in Cyprus. So I remember the entire community was very involved in it.
The community, they were involved, and it was I will assume that it was the amount of people that they were living here compared to how many people they live now. It's I think after the war, many Cypriots, they relocated in Canada.
A lot came, yeah. Because we had my aunt and uncle here, I remember they immediately put us into the Cypriot community. It was a very small community, but I remember the picnics and all that stuff. Whatever I see the new generations of people of different cultures now doing their picnics in the park, well, the Greeks and the Cypriots did that in the late 70s and early 80s. That was our turn to gather in the parks with our barbecues and singing and getting together.
It was one way of you guys socialize with each other, so you can get a kind of a normality in your life.
It was one way for my mother to say, here, I apologize, here's some Cypriots, maybe they can help you out, whatever, because
they did.
She felt so bad that we were attacking her verbally all the time for taking us out of our comfort zone in Cyprus.
But I can imagine also, and for them, being older at that point, they had to decide for you guys, and they have to change their life and your life. So the decision that they make at that point, it was also huge, right? Yeah. So, and especially in being older and learning a new language, it's extremely harder too.
Being older, we didn't see them at nighttime because they would be in school through the Canadian government to learn the language. Yeah.
Amazing stories. And now you've decided, after the whole experience with the Socialize that they put you through, and they gave you that experience, to do this as a full-time job for yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. If you think about it, everything happens for a reason, and you don't ask why, and you may not know why today, but 20 years from now, it'll be very evident and pretty clear on why things happen.
It's a way, I feel like, knowing you, I think it's one way from your end to give something back and be a part of a bigger picture of people's lives too.
We bring the artists from Greece, and we speak a lot with the singers that we bring from Greece and Cyprus. Somehow they always tell us, and it's just not one, but most of them say, there's something about Toronto. There's something about Toronto that when we come to Toronto, we feel like we're in Athens. And we don't see that in Chicago. We don't see that in Boston. We don't see that in the other cities. Only Toronto and maybe a little bit of New York Eagles, but nowhere close to what you guys have here. And I'm so proud of the fact that we can be Canadians. We can do everything the Canadians are asked to do, but at the same time, that button goes on, and we're Greeks like they are in Greece, and that makes me so proud. We're not Amerikanakia. We're not, even though we're literally hitting our third and fourth generations now. I see these kids coming up, and they still have, in their DNA, they're Canadian with Greek parts, basically. That's what it comes down to. So that's one thing that I will, till the day I die, I will strive to accomplish.
You should feel proud of yourself. You're doing great things for our community, and I would thank you personally.
You're welcome. And, everybody's welcome. And I'm just a courier. I deliver it, and everybody else just kind of jumps on board. And it's all those people that do it. Yes. We just open the doors and they come.
That's right. It's what you are. You open the doors and you just you welcome everybody, and that's great representation of our nationality too, our Cypriotness, let's say. Another thing that I wanted to point out, actually, we point out the fact back then, the awareness. Do you believe now, not only Greek, Cypriot, I believe they know what happened. Do you believe that, though, outside of our circle, people living in Canada, do they know where is Cyprus? What happened to Cyprus? Do you feel like there is an awareness for our issues since 1974?
Excuse me. I think there's more awareness of the war in 1821 in Greece than there is on something that happened only 50 years ago. I think we're too small, not relevant enough, And I find myself educating a lot of people on, first of all, what Cyprus is, where's Cyprus, what we've gone through and all that. So I think they need a better marketing department in Cyprus to get the word out, because a lot of people that are non-Cypriot have to be educated on what we've gone through.
I feel the same way. Actually, that's why I wanted to be sure that, I'm not just imagining this.
Yeah. No.
And I feel like it's, we are few, let's say.
Yeah.
And we are not...
But mighty.
But we are not too loud. And I think we should talk about it. We should educate everybody around us. We should be more involved. And because it's not something that it happens and finish, it's still an issue in Cyprus.
No.
It's not, and some people, they think that, the war happened in 1974 and it's done. But it's still affecting us till today.
It's not over.
It's not over.
50 years later, this war is not over. 50 years later, again, 8 years old, I remember as we get about 1 or 2 kilometers away from Kyrillou, the beach, and that smell. I'll never forget that smell. When you're getting close to the ocean and that beautiful smell of the ocean. Am I ever going to go swim there again? It's not over.
It's not over.
In order for this to be over, I need to get my butt in my bathing suit inside Kyrillou one more time and bring in exactly what I felt as an 8-year-old. So until that happens, sorry, it's not over. So yes, I agree with you. We must keep talking about it and reminding people and educating people on what it's all about. And who knows, maybe one day in our lifetime, we'll be able to do it again. But we hope.
Do you want to make a future wish for the people that they're watching about Cyprus? Do you want to say something that will be basically mostly for the new generation?
Yeah.
What if it was one thing that you wanted to say to them, what would that be?
Wow. I could spend like hours talking to these kids, but if it's yours, enjoy it. If it's not yours, educate people about what. If it's not yours, educate those people that Cyprus is not theirs. It's probably one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Not too many people know about it, but for the future Cypriots that I see here in Toronto, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a really good job, and I'm really proud of you. Take it to the limit. Never change. Be Canadian. Be Cypriot with your DNA, and one day, how can I put this? One day, because our generation, unfortunately, wasn't able to do it. My parents' generation wasn't able to do it. I wish that maybe that the next generation coming is the one that says, well, we accomplished it. We got your country back. So that's the wish I have for them.
Thank you. That's the best wish. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I want to
good luck to your future interviews, and I look forward to hearing what people's memories are all about.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being so open, and for your message, and thank you for the whole things you do with for our community. And you don't understand the impact you have in people's life, and you should know about that.
I thank you.